right now, I want to go into the 3 most beta male ass fucking movies of all time. And 3 is some of the most beta male movies of all time that I've personally seen, because I think a lot of the times what makes dudes bad with women is ultimately what we see on television, what we see on TV, what we see on television shows, movies. All of this plays a factor in how we perceive our reality around us, and that includes dating, and that includes women, especially romantic types of movies, which is what we're gonna go into right now. And the first movie off the bat is every Michael Cera movie that ever existed. Now, for those of you who don't know who Michael Cera is, there was a very famous movie called Superbad that broke. It just was a big hit. And I'm be honest, I found Superbad fucking hilarious. Superbad was a really funny movie. And in the movie, the main character is basically like a very nice, meek, kind of shy, awkward dude. That's basically his character. And his best friend is like is a complete opposite. He's like a fat, obnoxious dude who's talking about trying to get laid and all this type of shit. That's what makes the duality of the film kind of funny. And it just works itself. The 2 characters, they really work. The only problem was, suddenly, after that movie came out, every Michael Cera film after that was basically him playing this same shy, beta male, meek, awkward, scared of girls, super sarcastic, dry humor, shy guy. And ultimately, I think that this is awful because, for example, I had a friend of mine and he loved the movie Nick and Nora's Playlist, which was a Michael Cera movie. It was and the chick in that movie was really hot, I'm not gonna lie. And basically it's a romantic movie, and I watched the shit. It's a romantic comedy. I watched it and I just couldn't get over the fact of how fucking beta he was, because it's like, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like, it's like if you were to be a boxer or MMA fighter, or like a boxer, and then you watch the boxing movie where the choreograph was just really over the top or maybe goofy. It's like, it's kind of hard not to be taken out of it. It's the same thing. If I know that women respond to certain things and don't respond to other things, but then I watch a movie where the exact opposite of real human nature is happening, it disturbs me. I can suspend my belief, but only to a certain limit. And his movies are just the prime example of how not to act. So to a certain degree, there is value in it if you want to know exactly how not to act, but I just hate it because a lot of dudes will watch these movies and they enjoy it. And they see themselves as that dude because he presents himself as like, I'm just the average awkward guy, and a lot of guys will relate to that shit. And ultimately, man, it leads to a lot of dudes having these fantasy kinds of expectations where they think, like in these movies all the time, the awkward shy guy, he goes up to the super hot chick and she basically says everything for him. She's there like, oh yeah, coffee, 5 o'clock Friday, yeah, you good? And he's just like, oh yeah, great, awesome. She basically did everything for the dude. She's doing everything for the dude in these movies. A lot of times in these romantic comedies, and Michael Cera movies are some of the worst examples of that, because dudes watch this shit and they feel like maybe this could happen to me. Instead of feeling like I'm a loser, I need to get my shit together and get more sexually attracted to women or just become better with women, dudes have this idea that, okay, I can be a loser, nerd, suck with bitches, be shy as shit, beta male, pussy as fuck, but, according to this movie, eventually I'll find some girl who will just fall into my lap and do all the work for me, and I could just be this cute little beta male, just Disney princess dreams, and I hate that shit. And this is just, I know this isn't a specific movie in general, but really they're all the same. Number two on this list is a little movie called Crazy Stupid Love. It's a pretty recent movie. It came out a couple years ago, not that long ago. And basically, it's about a man. It's about a guy. He actually played the 40-year-old virgin, Steve Carell, who's like the Michael Cera before Michael Cera. He plays the average guy. He's in a marriage, but he's in a boring marriage, and he's very boring. And his wife eventually cheats on him and leaves him. So the movie basically picks up right where she basically divorced his ass. And now he's broken up. He goes to a bar and he sees a guy who's smooth. And the guy who's smooth basically proceeds to take him under his wing and teach him how to get good with women. So you can imagine, at this point in the movie, I'm actually really enjoying the movie. Now, this is some over-the-top smooth shit, but generally the guy's teaching him just not to be a bitch, to be more confident and just be more ballsy and have like just a more sense of pride. And ultimately, eventually, the main character, Steve Carell, starts to get better with women. He even starts to just be flirty as a motherfucker. He starts getting really good with women. I'm loving the movie so far because I'm like, hey, shit, this is what I do. This movie's like a fucking real life version of my life. But then things get terrible. Things get so awful. Things get so bad, man. Here's what happens. The main character, after being dumped and cheated on by his wife, and now learning this new way of getting women and meeting all these new beautiful women, he decides that he's actually sick of it because it feels shallow and because it's not the real him. So what he proceeds to do is tell this guy who's been helping him, hey man, thanks for the help, but yeah, I'm pretty much done with this. And you know what happens? He proceeds to make a giant dramatic speech at the end of the movie. I kid you not, this is what happens. He makes a giant speech to the wife who cheated on him, that he's sorry for her cheating on him. This shit right here is the most infuriating shit I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe that this shit could ever be approved as a real movie ending because I felt like, whoa, like I thought the happy ending was that he was gonna meet a different girl and move, but no, in reality he goes on this big speech at a wedding, not at a wedding, but at a gathering with all their families and basically says, hey, I know you cheated on me and left me because I wasn't being the man that I was supposed to be, and I'm sorry, and I'll now be the man that I'm supposed to be. And then she realizes after seeing him as a pimp, oh, okay, cool, we'll be back together now. Happy ending, and the movie ends. And I thought this shit was the most insane shit ever. You're literally training men to think that it's your fault. Let me put it like this. If you cheat, it's your fault. Like, if you cheated on a girl, you can't go, oh, well, she was boring me, or she didn't do shit at home. Motherfuckers would be like, no, motherfucker, you just wanted to fuck another girl. You're a pig. Girls would all call you a pig. No one would accept you blaming the woman. But yet somehow when it's the man, it's always the man's fault. It's like, it's your fault if you cheated on her, and if she cheated on you, it's also your fault because you did not keep her interested in long enough for her not to cheat on you. Never mind the fact that she could have just left you. Honestly, no, she cheated on you and kept that romantic thing that she can have at home. So she's playing both sides, lying, and there's no responsibility for that. He's literally saying, okay, it's not your fault, it's my fault, and the movie ends. And I wanted to put my fucking head through a fucking wall, man, when I seen this movie. And this is one of the big reasons why. This is around the time I stopped watching movies because of why. Those romantic movies specifically, because of shit like this. It would just, I'd watch it just to cringe. It's like a cringe enjoyment. It's like watching a train wreck. It's like awful, but you can't look away. And that's how I feel watching these movies, because as much as we might think, oh, these are just movies, these are just romantic comedies, the truth of the matter is, this shit has an effect on dudes. Dudes are really gonna watch this shit and think to myself, wow, well, she must have cheated because I didn't keep her interested enough and blah, 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 blah. Which, despite the fact that even if that's true, regardless of the fact that's true, that doesn't excuse her for lying. That doesn't excuse her for not just breaking up with you in the first fucking place. And I just hated this fucking movie because, especially this movie, because with other movies, you know, I could kind of see it coming. Like I could see from the start that it was going to be that kind of movie. But this movie, I thought it was awesome. The first half was incredible. It was like watching a dude who was down on his luck finally pick up his life back together again, only to go back to this thing that fucked him up in the first place. How was that the ending? It blew my... How is that the ending? Someone please explain that shit to me. The first half of the movie was awesome. So if you want to watch that half of the movie, I recommend that half. You want to watch the second half and want to put knives through your fucking eyeballs, then sure, go for that too, man. I'm gonna stop there because I think I'm about to blow a gasket, man. I think I'm about to get high blood pressure. Okay, just when I think things can't get worse, one of the most here's what makes this movie even more dangerous than the other movies. The other movies were very comedic. Now, while this was a romantic comedy, this movie, and the movie I'm talking about is 500 Days of Summer. 500 Days of Summer. This movie, the reason why this movie is so dangerous is because it comes across as a serious movie. Let me put it like this. It's a serious movie with comedic elements, whereas the other movies were like comedic movies with serious elements. So this movie is even more dangerous. For example, my guy Juice, we have a friend, and he is he's a cool guy, but I'm gonna be honest, he's very beta. He has very beta male. He has very limited beta male mindsets when it comes to women. He has very Disney kind of mindsets. You can't tell him anything. He's the kind of guy where we try to give him advice and he says stuff like, yeah, I like it, but I don't really like being an asshole. And we're sitting there looking at him like, well, so that's what you think we're doing? Being assholes? We're just going around being dickheads to bitches and that's what's getting, like, it's frustrating. This guy recommended this movie, like, oh my God, this movie's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And I kept hearing that this movie was getting great reviews, rave reviews. I watch it and I can see why it has those reviews. But it's also very dangerous because what it basically is the average guy's life and breakup in his 20s or his 30s that happens and how he deals with being broken up with and ultimately being in the house fucking miserable. The whole mood of the movie is not one of basically, all right, here's the plot. He's a main character. He meets a girl. Her name is Summer, 500 Days of Summer. What's even worse is that much like the average guy, he meets her at work, which again shows that he's in scarcity, just like the average guy. Oh my God, I met a girl at work, I fell in love with her, she broke up with me, now I'm at home depressed. Meanwhile, there's literally women walking outside, to the left of you, to the right of you, I mean, that wasn't actually the left and right of me, but to the left of you, to the right of you, whatever, everywhere around you, but you're over here focusing on this one girl at work. So anyways, he meets the girl. They date for a bit, and basically he is too fucking needy, and eventually she just kind of loses interest, and she breaks up with him. And the rest of the movie is basically him being a depressed, emo little bitch, trying to get over her, but really he's just at home, fucking depressed, and eventually he meets another new girl at work, and at least this movie ends with him meeting a new girl that is named Autumn. What are the odds? But again, it just frustrates me even more because again, he meets this girl at work, which again just shows that he has not learned. What's the lesson if, okay, I met this girl, she broke up with me at work, and then I met a new girl at work. Like, are you fucking serious? We're gonna do this whole shit again? The reason why this movie's so dangerous is because it's actually a good movie. It's an entertaining movie. And when you watch it, if you've ever been through a breakup, you're gonna feel like, damn. It's gonna give you those nostalgic feelings of how it feels after you have a breakup. And the only problem with this is the type of movie where dudes who I know that are very self-loathing, they're gonna love this movie. Because our friend of ours who recommended it, he's the type of dude to write statuses about, oh my God, all this bad shit is happening, woe is me, and she broke up with me, and she cheated on me, and all the type of dudes who like wallowing in their own misery. Because here's the thing, we're beings of light and day. We can, of light and dark. So we can bathe, we can enjoy misery. Like, a lot of people enjoy the feeling of being miserable or just having that whole mindset. You just look around and you can see people wanting to be victims. So this is a perfect movie for victims, for dudes who want to sit at home and feel like a fucking victim. This right here, it's a good movie, it's entertaining, watch it, but I'm just saying, when you watch these movies, understand that you're being brainwashed. Now, the brainwashing doesn't work if you recognize that it's just a movie. The thing is, when you see things enough times, even if you don't consciously agree with it, it kind of seeps into you. Just same way you can hear a bad song, if you hear it enough times, eventually you're gonna start singing that shit. I remember back in the day, I'm sure there was plenty of motherfuckers who would never admit that they were randomly singing Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears or some shit because the shit was playing everywhere. That's just what it is. When you're watching these movies and you see all these beta male examples constantly everywhere, dudes start to relate to that. They're like, oh man, I'm the average guy. I'm the average guy. I wake up every day and go to this office and see this cute girl that I don't really know how to talk to. And then finally I talk to her and then maybe we go on a date and then maybe that we get into a relate. They relate. The average guy relates to this, but the only problem is this shit is gonna lead you nowhere, to nowheresville. And I just had to rant about this shit because ultimately, man, it's not just about what I teach you, because it's also about just analyzing all the things that we learn in society, the things we see on TV, the things we see with people. Because if we can understand how those things are limited or inaccurate, we can better understand how we can improve ourselves and ultimately not be affected by that bullshit. Period, bro. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Thank you, man. Thank you for watching this shit, man. For real. I just mean that from the heart, dude. So with that being said, bro, competence is bred. Well, confidence is bred by competence. I always fuck that up, man. Fuck it. See you on the other side, pimp.